I have a quick question for all of you. And my name is Susan Splan with Nevada State Bank. I work in the marketing side for the professional and private bank. So, like Randy had said earlier, we work with the affluent people in Las Vegas. Maybe those Hollywood stars that are going to move here, possibly. That's just a joke. And mostly doctors and attorneys, dentists, and CPAs. So that's the area that we cover. How many of you are planning on staying in Nevada? So some of you are not, huh? So your moving expenses, I thought of that when he said that. So you might all, if you're planning on moving, maybe reconsider, because you won't be able to write off your moving expenses anymore. We love to keep people here in Nevada when you go to school. So, all right. So what I'm going to cover, and let me see if I can. What a good business plan looks like. And I'm going to get this link to you, but this is a fantastic website. Hopefully it's going to pull up for me. Under the SBA.gov. So look at this. It walks through pretty much everything that you want to do. Have you done any kind of, have any of you that own your own practice or in your practice written a business plan? Has anybody written a business plan?
We have an assignment to turn in a business plan next week.
You do? Cheat. Right here. Right? So, yeah. We'll say this is proprietary for just everybody that's here. So, I think, like Jack was saying, the most important thing is, you're going to school on how to become a dentist, right? But I think that you should feel really lucky that the Dental Society is putting these workshops on for you, because John will kind of go into it a little bit later, but you have to also know how to run your business. And you get busy doing what you're good at and what you go to school for, and for, maybe not pay as much attention to the other side of it. I mean, you're going to make great money, but you want to manage that money, and you want to manage your business as best as you can, and hire the right people. So get Jack Cohen as your CPA, hire a good lawyer, and then always have a good banker that you build a relationship with. And that's really important, because then if you have a question and you're maybe thinking, I want to buy a building or a practice in 2 to 3 years. Perhaps I need to sit down with my banker and figure out what things I should plan on doing to get myself ready for that. Okay? So, how to write your business plan. The business plan is, your foundation, the foundation of what you want to do for the future. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it really is fantastic here, because it basically walks you through everything that you need to do as far as your business plan. So you're always going to want to put together like kind of an executive summary, and what I consider that is, tell the bank or tell us about you. Your schooling, any volunteer work that you do, any community involvement, any groups that you're a part of. That's kind of what the executive summary is. Then maybe your company description, and you're going to have to do this if you're going to go and buy into a practice also, okay? And then you're going to want to possibly have some market analysis that, if you're buying into a practice, you're going to look at, what are the trends, location. That's not just true in the restaurant business. It's also true for where you want to have your business and how close you are to the population that you want to serve. You're going to give a management summary, whether you're going into business with a partner or you're going to be a sole practitioner, that type of thing. And so let me go down through here. I think John can probably attest to this, but your financial projections are really going to be really important when you're putting together your business plan. And it's usually 2 to 3 years, right, of business projections. And so you're going to get that one of two ways. You might get that from the dentist that you're buying the business from, or you're going to have to put together some projections on what you think your business is going to earn or what your practice is going to earn in the future. So not to cover too much more, but this is such a great site. So if you want, I can email Jessica the presentation, and or if you want to write this down for the link for your class. Do you have any specific questions for me? And the other thing I like about this is it really gives you a template that you can work with. Okay. All through there. So any specific questions on why do you, how about you answer for me? Why do you think you need a business plan? Nobody's going to answer. Anybody in here a runner? Anybody here like to work out?
I'll give you my answer, Susan.
Okay, thank you.
It used to be until I tore my Achilles.
Okay.
So a business plan is just like, it's a roadmap. It's a way for you to organize your thoughts on the paper, so you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. It allows the bank that you're going to at least understand your thought process and how you believe you're going to be successful, so they're going to be willing to hand you the $1.6 million you want that you didn't have to pay the IRS.
Right.
You know, so.
So to paraphrase what Dr. Wyman said, it's your roadmap to success. So even if you aren't going, my suggestion would be is even if you're not looking to borrow any kind of money for your practice or business right away, have a business plan. You know, maybe have an idea of where you want to go with your practice in a short period of time. You know, have your, 2 to 3 year plan, then have maybe a little bit longer. If you start thinking about that and you put together maybe a plan that you might revise every year and take a look at and see what's changed within your business, and keep that somewhere where you're going to update that once a year, maybe when you're doing your taxes. But I ask who's a runner. I'm a runner. I do half marathons. But I didn't just go out and run a half marathon. There are lots of plans. So I put together a plan to make sure that I'm successful at the end of my race, whether I'm hitting a pace I wanted or the time or whatever that is. So I really think that it's important that you put together a plan and you update that on a yearly basis. So that's what I have. Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to bring up one key point too.
Let me.
Are SBA,
I'm going to hand you that mic.
there are SBA resources. There are SBA resources here in town that'll help you build your business plan. There's offices here where you
Yes.
can connect. I know your project's next week, but you can certainly give them a call just for pointers and ideas, because they help. They see different businesses and business plans all the time. They'll help you trigger different questions to ask you, and also really what's important to put in there, especially when you're starting out. Whether it's projections for the first couple of years, how are you getting there the first 6 months? Are you just opening the door and expecting $100,000, $200,000 in revenue to come in? What's your thought process to get there? We see this a lot with different types of doctors, and you just got to take a step back and say, all right, I'm going to have X amount of expenses to start off, and then there's going to be a ramp-up period. There always is, no matter what type of space you are, either dental or in medical. There's always time to get that rolling, get the insurance receivables in as well. So just something to think about as you're forming those, maybe next week for just your mock business plan, but as you're going forward also.
Great. Yes.
How soon should you write a business plan? Can you do it years in advance, or is that something after you have like an acquisition in process?
I mean, I don't think that if you're working for somebody else that maybe you would sit down and see if they have a business plan, or you formulate an initial one as soon as possible. Just, I don't know, Dr. Wyman, are you updating your business plan, or what would you, no, not anymore, but how about?
But I'm retired military.
Okay.
And so when I decided that I was going to retire from the service, this is when I started doing all this planning. So I did it probably 18 months out, so that if I had to present a plan for a loan, then I had it already prepared. It's sort of like, as you get out of school, you're going to need to, like we talked about before in some of these mentorship panels, about disability insurance, term life insurance, all these other things that you want to get now while you're young. You don't want to wait until you're old and it costs more money, or if you have a pre-existing condition, you don't want to have to worry about that. But like your DEA license, all these other things that is going to allow you to do the business of dentistry you want to do, some of this you can't get done overnight, and you're going to have to do it a little bit. Now, for those of you that have already taken your ADEX or the Western regional boards, you've passed, and all you're waiting for is your diploma, so that you can go ahead and start working. Now's the time for you to start doing all the rest of this stuff before you get out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so to answer your question, I would say, like 18 months ahead of time, you're probably going to have a general idea of when you want to acquire a practice or buy into a practice. And at least you've got an initial format that you can kind of work from. And then maybe you can work with a mentor or the doctor that you're working under to formulate a better plan. But I'm a big planner. I think it's better to plan early. So any other questions on I'm not going to spend too much more time on this, but it's a great resource for you. And like John said, and we can get you that information too, of resources out in the community to help you. And wherever you move to, there's usually an SBA office that can help you and provide you resources. Talk to your banker about that. And yeah, and it's free. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, let's see if I can get this to work. Okay, so what I'm going to kind of go over is the difference between leasing equipment or getting a term loan for equipment. They're almost the same, but really term financing is probably better than taking a lease out. Like, you're generally not going to do a lease unless you have large pieces of equipment, but we'll kind of go through that. So oftentimes, if you don't want to use all of your cash, which Dr. Wyman likes to hold on to his cash, he told us that earlier, you probably know that about him, you want to go out and get term financing for, like, if you're doing tenant improvements, or you're setting up your practice, or you're going to go buy, what's that big machine? Yeah, okay. There's numbers of them. And Ryan, tell us a cost of like a large piece of equipment that $100,000. So how many of you have $100,000 in a bank account where you can go and finance it? Not that many, right? So you're gonna set up a term loan. So, and John will cover this later. A short term is like anything from 0 to 18 months. That's generally what you're going to use a line of credit for. And what you're going to look at for term financing are long-term assets, like paying for something that is $100,000. Or how about your student loan debt? That's a long-term financing, right? Yes? That was meant to be humorous, but so okay. Yeah, okay. Generally 18 months or more. So the interest on your equipment loan can usually be deducted, but I would refer to your CPA to make sure that it can. All of these things, we always refer to the expert for that information. Okay, so things to consider for when you're looking to take a loan out on equipment. Do you have excess cash? A traditional bank loan, you're going to put down 20 to 30% down in cash first. If you're going to go the SBA route, you may have to only put down as little as 10%. So that's where you have your banker, and you're going to sit down with them and kind of discuss like what your options are, how much cash do you have on hand, how long do you want to, pay for the equipment. And bank loans generally offer you the ability to make extra payments. So sometimes anybody here have a home mortgage where you can make extra payments? So have you made extra payments, Dr. Wyman? Okay, so, and oftentimes through a bank loan, you're able to make extra principal payments to pay off it sooner if you happen to have an influx of cash, every couple months. Okay. Any questions on a term loan and what you might use that for?
What's the going rates for term loans from
Do you know that,
Nevada
John?
State Bank?
It would depend on the
Yeah.
the type of collateral.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. And what Dr. Wyman asked is, what are the rates, the current rates for term financing right now?
It depends on the type of collateral, but for equipment right now, you'll see, I would say, on average, things in the sixes. That's pretty competitive right now, I'd say. Leases sometimes will be a little bit less. It depends on the term of the financing. That's always factored in too. And then just from a Nevada State Bank perspective, we're a relationship type bank, and so as we continue to do business with a certain client, we can offer different types of promotional rates also for that. But I would say in the 6 to 7% is probably a pretty good start for most of your equipment financing. Real estate would be something completely different. You have a better asset, better real estate. Generally, you'll see more in the fives for the most part right now.
Yeah, just hold, and then yeah, you can leave it on. Okay. So then on a lease, I'm really thinking that the way things go more now, so you're going to do term financing versus a lease. I mean, a true equipment lease would be that when you're at the end of the lease, you would turn the equipment back in to the company that you were leasing it from, sort of like a car. But I don't know, Ryan, in the dental business, how often are they returning the equipment after you
It's not really a return as much as they have an option to buy it.
to buy it out for $1? Right, right. So that the true, yeah.
Happens and they can upgrade like certain. But it's not as much. It's not as common as probably just buying it outright.
Right, which is more for the term financing. So it really just kind of depends how you want to finance, whether you want to use your cash now or whether you want to, save it for later. So any questions, any more questions, anything you can add on the lease versus term financing?